Hey, this is pretty good. I think we should watch the whole thing. All right, I'll go get some food.
Hey, Ike, I heard you got a new car.
I did. I got a GM.
GM? I thought you wanted a sports car.
I did. I got a Chevy.
Chevy? So you got a truck?
No, I got a sports car. I got a Corvette.
GM makes Corvette. Ike, it's bread before butter. Hi, this is Andrew Sokol, international business consultant and branding strategist.
And I'm sales trainer Ike Krieger, developer of the Your Open is Your Closed sales system.
Ike and I are dedicated to making advanced sales and marketing strategies available to small and mid-sized businesses.
These are techniques formerly available only to very large companies with very large budgets.
This video is one way you can have access to the business secrets of the world's most successful companies.
So relax, enjoy, and learn from this week's 5 for 5 video tip. Andrew, our 5 for 5 question this week comes from one of our subscribers named Annette. And Annette asks, I'm in direct marketing. Why do I need a brand strategy?
Well, as Ike knows, we love those kinds of questions because they really allow us to do what we love to do the most, and that is take Fortune 500 branding and sales strategies, really the strategies of the world's biggest, most successful companies, and scale them and apply them to small businesses, even as small as direct marketers, network marketers working out of their homes. We're going to talk about a very powerful new concept today. But before we do, there's something special about this week's 5 for 5 video. And Ike, you want to tell them about that?
Sure. Along with the link to today's video, you received another email which contains a link to what we're calling program notes, which contains more information, exercises, and some bonus material. And we think you're going to find this very helpful.
And what we recommend that you do at this point is get yourself a little notebook, maybe by next week, so that as you receive this material, you can download it, you can print it, and really start to keep these lessons organized. And we're going to be referring back to some of the exercises and lessons in future 5 for 5 videos. In fact, you might want to think about this as a course book.
Yeah, a course book is a great way to think of it.
Now, let's talk about a very powerful concept when it comes to branding, and that is the idea of brands and sub-brands. And this is a very common sort of a thing in the car industry.
Brands and sub-brands, an example would be very helpful.
Sure. I mentioned the car industry. Let me share with you an experience I had when I was handling the marketing for one of the largest car dealers in the United States. What we determined at that time, our marketing strategy, was to allow the major brand, the manufacturer, the corporation, to promote and market the brand name and really treat the dealership, the distributor, if you will, as a separate brand. So the manufacturer was running national commercials, newspaper campaigns, radio campaigns, getting consumers to consider the brand, but it was the job of the dealership to market the dealership as the one to go to for that brand in the area.
Let me see if I have this correctly. You have a parent company like a Ford or a Toyota or a Mercedes, and those are the parent company or the actual manufacturer. Then you have distributors of those brands, and those would be the dealerships.
Exactly.
And the dealership is the one who has the competition in the area from other distributorships. And what we're talking about today is how to set yourself apart from other people who are marketing the same corporate or parent company brand.
You'll remember that the whole purpose of a brand strategy is to answer the question, why you?
Right.
And you can see the similarities in our example between car manufacturers and network marketing, for example. There's a parent company, and then you can begin to think of yourself like the dealership, like the distributor, a separate brand, and begin to market yourself and differentiate yourself from other reps in your particular brand category, so that when you go to a Chamber of Commerce event or any sort of a networking event, and there are other representatives from your brand there, it's not a problem for you because you've created a brand strategy for yourself that differentiates you from all of the other reps in the room and gives consumers a reason to shop from you rather than from them. It's very powerful.
And I know that you share a story about someone who was able to establish this unique brand strategy from their cells that really just melded in perfectly with the strategy of the parent company. Why don't you share that?
Sure, that's a great story, a great example. Michelle is a representative for a big company that sells health and beauty products. And she was plagued with this problem that most direct marketers have, and that is walking into a room and finding other people who sell that same line of health and beauty products. Well, in talking with Michelle, we discovered that she had a real interest in this anti-aging concept. And as we talked about her competition and how she can differentiate herself and grow her business, we determined that it would be a very clever strategy for her to position herself as an anti-aging expert who just happens to recommend and represent this particular health and beauty line. It's very powerful because by doing this, she's actually positioning herself as bigger than the company, an expert in a particular field, and people come to her because of that, rather than going into the room and just selling the product.
I remember when you told that story at one of our seminars, and I saw the faces of the attendees just kind of go, oh, I see, so I can position myself inside of the parent company and set myself apart from other people who are basically doing the same thing I am.
Yes, and I'd like you to think of this as even bigger than that, and that is not positioning yourself inside of the company, but positioning yourself, the perception of yourself, as being bigger than the company. An anti-aging expert who happens to recommend this particular product. Now, you do have to, if this is a strategy you decide to follow, you do have to bring to the table, if you will, that particular interest or expertise. And as a matter of fact, when we decided that that would be her strategy, we also understood that she was going to have to do some study on the subject of anti-aging. But when she did, she began speaking on that subject. She would get engagements to speak on the subject of anti-aging, which was a perfect platform for her to then sell her line of products. So we have an action step for you this week, as we always do, but this one's a little bit special. Ike, you want to tell them about it?
Sure. In the second email that we sent you today, you'll find an exercise where we're going to ask you to come up with 3 unique things about you that don't mention your product or your parent company.
And I want to point out that this exercise, for some people, can actually be a little bit uncomfortable because it requires a little bit of soul searching and asking yourself, what do you bring to the table apart from the attributes of the product or the parent company that can help you be different from your competition? You have to look at your life to some extent and how you and your experience is different from everyone else.
Like a love for the whole concept of anti-aging.
Exactly. That was a perfect example because she brought that to the table and then was able to apply that and help her business grow. So, your action step, write down 3 things that are unique to you as a person without referring to your product or parent company. Do that this week. Get your notebook. Don't forget, we'll see you next week. My name's Andrew Sokol.
And I'm Mike Krieger.
See you with the next 5 for 5 video.